In this video, you will hear from Dr. Joseph Volpicelli, leading naltrexone expert researcher and physician. Common one that I see often where people have concerns around, will I drink more alcohol on naltrexone? So people may assume that by taking naltrexone, they're going to essentially drink more than they were before they were even on the medication. I think sometimes this comes from a misunderstanding that you can't get buzzed or drunk on naltrexone. So just wanted to hear what your answer would be to that.
Yes, practically, I find that people don't do that. They don't try to drink through the naltrexone. And I think there's a couple of reasons why. So even though people may think that, well, if I take a small dose, I may be able to still get the high, or if I wait 12 hours, I can still get the high. They're still trying to figure out a way around it. Often what they'll find is that if they drink alcohol, having a therapeutic level of naltrexone in their system, that after two or three drinks, normally they would expect to feel that buzz, that excitement, that increased energy, but instead they feel tired. And if they try and drink through that, they'll just get more and more tired. So they'll have a blackout before they get the high. And after a couple experiences like that, they quickly give up that notion that they can drink through the naltrexone. Again, it doesn't get around the fact that you can play with the pharmacokinetics of naltrexone and find a way so that there's not a therapeutic level of naltrexone in your system. But once there's a therapeutic level of naltrexone in your system, it's really hard to drink through that.
Okay, great. So when people have this fear that I'm taking naltrexone so I won't feel drunk, so I'm just going to drink more alcohol and perhaps give myself alcohol poisoning, is that not a is that a fear that's based in an inaccurate understanding of how naltrexone is working?
Yeah, I think it's just something that's theoretically possible, but practically we never see. And I think it comes from experience using naltrexone to treat people with opiate addiction. So there I see that more frequently, that people will use an opiate on naltrexone and they won't get any effect at all. Opiates are completely blocked with naltrexone, so there's no sedative effect like alcohol. They don't start passing out because of the sedative effects. They just feel nothing. And so a person who's used to buying heroin on the street and feels nothing will think they had a bad batch of heroin. So they'll go back and check more. And often when you buy illicit drugs, you get different potencies of the drug. And so you might assume that the way of getting around it is just by taking a higher dose. So I have seen that in some folks who have a opiate use disorder try to overcome the effects of naltrexone by increasing the dose. More recently, what I have found is, and this is a real thing, that people try to overcome the effects of naltrexone with what? That fentanyl stuff that I talked about. Remember how I said fentanyl can still give you pain relief? It can get through the effects of naltrexone. Well, people who buy fentanyl on the street may be able to get some effect, some enjoyment from the fentanyl, some high from the fentanyl, even though they have naltrexone in their system. And then it becomes a battle of, well, do we need to increase the dose of naltrexone to overcome that effect? And maybe that would work. It's sort of like a war, a race of who's going to have the stronger anti-ballistic missile here, and uh, so guys on the street will have more potent opioids, and we come back with more potent opiate antagonist, and we'll see who wins the day. But there you can have the battle. But for alcohol, you don't have the battle because of those sedative effects. You just pass out.
Okay. Yeah, and through my personal experience as well, the longer I was on the naltrexone, it was like when my off switch came, it was like I couldn't touch the alcohol. It would almost make
Yeah.
me gag the thought of like taking one more drink. I'm just like, I am done, which was such a miracle. But it was I remember I never blacked out again from day one when I started naltrexone. I was still drinking quite a bit, but never had that blackout again, and my drinking just gradually reduced. And I've seen that in so many others as well. That's why when people express this concern, maybe it is because that they have that understanding with opiates. But as a coach, I've worked with hundreds of people, and I've never really seen that. They might drink a lot, they might drink, maybe the same levels of when they started, or like you said, they're not properly taking the medication to get the full blockade in their system, so they're taking it and then drinking right away so they can still drink a lot and get the buzz effect. But
Right.
I appreciate you clearing that up.
Yeah, it's if you have a therapeutic level, it's really hard to overcome the effects by just drinking a lot. And I have to say that in general, social supports are really critically important for people in their recovery. I mean, that's one of the things that I think AA gets right. That that when people are have peer support or a coach or someone can help hold them accountable, but give them support when they begin to lose hope. That's very important, critically important in terms of people getting better from this disorder. And so from the beginning, we recommended that if people go on naltrexone using the Sinclair method or daily naltrexone, or if they get a monthly injection of extended release naltrexone, that in addition to using the medicine faithfully, it's also important to have psychosocial support to help you get through the process.